You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, Donald Trump is leaving the hospital today after being diagnosed with COVID-19 and spending just 3 days there. Of course, interrupted by spin around the block yesterday to greet his fans, which is pretty stupid. As of today, there are 7.45 million confirmed cases of coronavirus and 210,000 Americans have died. His treatment and quick release is raising lots of questions. Of course, he took to Twitter. You want to talk about just crazy, folks. Let me pull up this tweet to show you literally the level of ignorance of Donald Trump. He sent a tweet out today saying that he was going to be leaving the White House, but listen to literally what he said in this idiotic tweet, which looks. What, has he taken it down? Because I was going to pull it up here, where he actually announced before the doctors did that he was going to be leaving at 6:30, and talked about how basically how he's beaten coronavirus and he hasn't felt this good in 20 years. Yo, I don't even understand the logic behind that. But some folks did have something to say about it, of course, when he went. The Rep Replies had this to say, and Alex, he was really on point.
This message for the president. You finna quarantine. Quarantine? So you're trying to listen? Listen? You don't listen? No. Don't come talking about this some CDC guidelines. You don't listen to CDC. Remember? CDC don't know what they talking about. I dare you disrespect mega land like that and start listening to directions. Y'all don't listen to no directions. Y'all is the directions, remember? You finna quarantine. You scared. You scared. Get out of here. Back in these streets. These people want to rally tonight, man. And you in the bunker. Get out the bunker and get back out here in these streets. There ain't no corona. You finna quarantine. We in this together. No, we ain't. Y'all in this. We ain't in nothing. Sleepy Joe. He's weak, Sleepy Joe. But now you want a quarantine. Get out here now. In these streets. Throw some more Get back on Air Force One. And I better not see no masks on you. You don't wear masks. Y'all don't wear masks. You want a quarantine. Oh, you tested positive for COVID. Ain't no COVID, bitch.
Joining me now is Dr. Kristy McDowell, a microbiologist and CEO and founder of Baby Scientists, Inc. Dr. McDowell, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We've had all these news conferences with his doctors not wanting to release some information. There's no way in the world this man gets coronavirus last week, all of a sudden taking these experimental drugs and should be leaving the hospital, potentially infecting others. We already know 19 people who have been at the White House have tested positive. Today, Kayleigh McEnany, the press secretary, who yesterday addressed reporters without a mask on, and she kept saying how she tested negative. Well, guess what? Today, she tested positive. This is an example of you can come into contact with somebody and test negative for 3 or 4 days and then test positive.
That's exactly right, Roland. Thanks for having me today. The president leaving the hospital is completely and totally reckless and is totally dangerous because he is still highly contagious. He has active virus in his body right now. And he also has a very high viral load, meaning he is very contagious. And so going to the White House, he can spread it so easily. And I saw in a van photo when he went to go greet his people outside of Walter Reed. He had on just a simple little face mask. He needed an N95 mask on, for someone who has active coronavirus in their body, who is totally infectious. And walking around the White House, the staffers, he's putting them at risk. And one thing that people forget is, yes, those staffers may be wearing masks, but another portal of entry is through the eyes. And so just because he may have a mask will not protect them from getting coronavirus if he is in the White House. Another thing that's important to remember is that the White House doesn't have the level of filtration that a hospital does. The hospital has the high-end HEPA filters that can filter out viral particles. The White House does not have that. And the CDC put back on their website today that to confirm that the virus is airborne, something that he and his administration and his followers want to deny. This virus, once it is in the air, can stay in the air for a matter of time, which is significant, before it will fall to the ground or disappear. So it's very reckless and dangerous for him to be going back to the White House because everyone is going to be at risk.
This is, and the thing about it is, when you look at staff, I mean, these folks are going back home. Kellyanne Conway, she tested positive. Now her daughter is freaking out on TikTok saying, hell, she may have infected me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, before Kellyanne mentioned it, her daughter put on TikTok and was like, Mama's around here coughing her butt off, around the house, which was a major sign because, you saw at the Rose Garden conference when Kellyanne was talking to Barr up close. She's at home with her family. And that's what will happen with the other staffers in the White House who do not have the medical capabilities, access to the drugs, and access to the level of care that the president does. These people who have regular health care will not have that type of care if they get sick. And they won't have the ability to get steroids and, investigational drugs and antibodies to fight off the disease and feel like they're 20 years younger. So that's the danger in it all, is that these staffers could contract that virus and take it home to their children, families, and many people live with their elderly parents, and that will be dangerous as well.
The thing that, again, this is still, all of a sudden he's trying to act like, hey, I beat this thing. You got Republicans running around saying, Trump, he beat back coronavirus. 210,000 people are dead. There are a number of people having the after effects. And also, let's be clear, 99.9999% of Americans don't have free health care, don't have access to the experimental drugs. The drugs that he's getting, only 300 people have been able to use these experimental drugs so far.
That's right, Roland, because the drug that he's being administered is remdesivir. It is an investigational drug that is still in clinical trials. It's still in a clinical trials phase. I believe it's in clinical phase 3. He also was able to get a antibody concoction, and antibodies are the proteins that our body makes. And these antibodies were isolated from people who previously had coronavirus, so they are able to attack the virus directly. And so these are drugs that no one in the world has access to right now but him. And so people who on regular health care, who have no health care at all, will not have access to these drugs. And that's what makes his transfer back to the White House so dangerous because his staff, drivers, the butlers, the cooks, they don't have access to this type of healthcare that can provide those level of drugs that he is getting. And so for him to say, oh, don't worry about coronavirus. Yes, people still need to worry about coronavirus. It's out here. It's alive. It's infectious. People need to wear their masks. They need to continue to wash their hands, and they can need to continue to social distance, because those are the things that will keep us safe, us regular people out here in these streets.
One of the things that again jumps out when you talked about that N95 mask, first of all, which is very hard to actually get for those of the rest of us, is it a cloth mask with a filter? So exactly what should the rest of us be wearing as well? So, yes, like you said, the N95 masks, they are the type of, they are medical grade masks. Those are masks that the hospital staff will wear, the doctors, the nurses. It's also masks that scientists will wear when we work with infectious diseases such as Ebola, coronavirus, SARS. Those masks have a filter that is small enough to filter out a particle that is small like a virus. A virus is so small that it's you cannot see it with the human eye, and you have to have a high-powered microscope in order to see it. And so that the filter in those N95s is very important. And so for him, that is something that he should have been wearing so that he could block the passage of that virus. Now, for everyday people, yes, a regular mask will do, because there has been many scientific studies out that shows that the regular cloth mask that everyday people wear is just fine. Right? It will block, at least 75-80% of your spit that comes out when you talk, when you cough, when you sneeze. So those masks are totally fine, and I encourage everyone to continue to wear them. Now, for someone who is highly contagious as the president and who has access to everything, he should have been wearing an N95 mask to protect the people around him, especially being in a closed vehicle with his Secret Service detail. All right, then. Doc, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Martin. I appreciate it.
All right, folks. Our panel, Dr. Avis Jones-Dweaver, political analyst, Eugene Craig, CEO, Eugene Craig Organization, Teresa Lundy, principal founder, TML Communications. Folks, today on the campaign trail, this was Jill Biden being very cognizant of the need for social distancing. Joe Biden was standing way too close to reporters. She took it upon herself to move Biden back. Watch this. So again, you see right there where she's like, yeah, you need to pull you back. Right. That's what should be happening. We also, of course, are seeing right now this back and forth, how the Trump people are basically making light of Senator Kamala Harris. You have folks who, first of all, they've agreed to move apparently the podiums 13 feet apart. The Biden people, the Harris people are talking about potentially erecting a plexiglass barrier. This was the barrier that was in place on Saturday night. Jamie Harrison brought his own plexiglass barrier in his debate with Lindsey Graham. And then if you have Katie Miller, who is a spokeswoman for the Trump campaign, basically making light of that. This is the same Katie Miller who's married to Stephen Miller, who actually got coronavirus earlier. And Teresa, the CDC recommends that if you're in the workplace, if you can, to erect such barriers.
I agree. This is the time where we cannot take our lives lightly. Millions have died globally, and thousands have died nationally. And I think, for when the president gets coronavirus and his team is getting coronavirus, I mean, essentially it looks like the only people that are safe are the vice president's team. So it looks like they'll be moving in the White House pretty soon. But I think we're all over. We're seeing a national attempt to, okay, you know what? Maybe we will start looking at CDC guidelines. Maybe we will start taking precautionary methods. But again, if your life matters to you, then you need to be taking the proper protocols, hand washing, temperature checks, PPE, if you have it. If you don't, go get it, and make sure you share it with a friend. But, I know right here locally, we just got finished opening up at 50% capacity for restaurants indoor. That's a huge risk. Like, I am still opposed to doing that. I'm also just still doing takeout at this time and cooking more at home. But I think it's to each his own. People want to feel comfortable, but at the end of the day, you have to be safe.
Absolutely. Bottom line here, Eugene, this is an idiot we're dealing with, an idiot who is all about attention seeking. He is so desperate for attention that little drive-by yesterday was abysmal, putting those Secret Service agents at risk. He doesn't care. And so this whole deal now, the 6:30 deal, he's doing that to time it with the national broadcast outlets. He wants everybody covering him, getting out of the hospital. That's all this is.
Yeah, look, that's all it is. It's a big show for him, right? At this point, all they're concerned about is the next 30 days and his election. His health be damned. The thing is this. Friday when they
his health be damned and his staff and White House personnel's health be damned.
Yeah, well, look, it comes down to power, right? It's hey, we can't have this guy laid up in Walter Reed and the world, watching and his poll numbers steadily dropping. To the point where, Biden may rack up 400 electoral college votes because, now, Trump did his best to chase Corona. He finally caught Corona. As I posted over the weekend, I said my only regret is that the 210,000 people that have died from Corona of no fault of their own, I wish they had the same level of access to health care that this guy had that spent, part of his time spreading misinformation about Corona, part of his time using his actual power to help the spread, and then part of his time doing his best to chase it to finally catch it.
Avis, what we're dealing with here is a psychopath. That's what his sister Mary Trump calls him. I trust nothing that his doctors say. They are not being honest and truthful to the American people. And frankly, when their lips are moving, they're lying.
Absolutely. And I completely agree. He is a psychopath because only a psychopath would have been as irresponsible as he was today with that particular tweet. But it's in line with how he acts anyway. I mean, just really think about this. He literally received hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of medical care. When you're thinking about everything that happened from his flight over there to all of the time that he spent there to his flight back and everything, I am sure he had at least, over $100,000 worth of medical care. Yet we know he just paid $750 in taxes. And we know that this sort of stunt, because something isn't adding up here. The timeline of when he got it or something's not adding up here is just not right. But he has been doing publicity stunts the entire time. All of those staged photos, now the staged exit, now to be as irresponsible as to, instead of talking about the importance of people being able to follow the guidelines and wear masks, he is in fact encouraging people not to. Put this in line with what he has done most recently. He's sidelined Fauci. He's even sidelined Bricks. And he's brought in someone as his main advisor who's not even an epidemiologist, but someone who is in fact in favor of herd immunity. What he is trying to do is he's trying to kill you. Basically, they have told you what they're doing. They have given up on coronavirus. They've just forget it. Every man, woman, and child for himself. And even though I'm going to have my privileged access to things that you will never get, including pretty much a smaller hospital-like status within the White House, you go ahead out there and do whatever you have to do, just as long as we can, quote unquote, get this economy back. I don't care. He doesn't care how many bodies he has to step over to do it. But I just hope that the American people can see through this so that they can make sure that he is the one that's going to be seeing the exit come November 3rd.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks at Seek.com, of course, they black-owned company founded by Mary Spiel. They have a couple of great products that you can actually get. This is their VR headset. This headset, folks, allows for you to actually take your cell phone, pop it right into here, close it up, and then you can actually watch the VR content, the virtual reality content on Seek.com right there through your phone. Actually, it's pretty cool. You can also look at 360-degree video from other websites as well, and it puts you literally right there where the video was shot. And so they have this particular headset right here. They also have their 360-degree 4D headphones. And so these headphones right here, which are Bluetooth. Also, they have the headset, which you use for when you, if you're for all you gamers out there. And then, of course, it has this amazing sound, really, which actually covers around. Typically, you just have the headphones just right here, but this actually has a sound that goes all around your head. I love these headphones. Love listening to music with them and watching videos as well. And so, all you got to do, folks, is go to Seek.com, Seek.com. Use the promo code RMVIP2020. That's RMVIP2020 to actually try these out. And so that's what we want you to do. All right, folks. So again, go to Seek.com.